Hi again, welcome back to Daily Dose of Anime Recaps. In this video, we'll be covering the first part of the anime movie titled as L.O.R.D, Lord of Ravaging Dynasties. In the initial scene, a boisterous lad named Ling is seen rampaging through the streets of his native town. Apparently the boy has been charged with carrying certain goods back at the inn where he works. Once there, Ling's curiosity is aroused by a stranger named Yin, who actively compliments Ling on the quality of tea being served at the inn. Tea aside, Ling soon starts bombarding Yin with a ton of questions regarding her origin as well as current mission. As it happens, Yin is indeed a spirit master from the Aslan Empire's capital city, L.O.R.D, something that Ling is able to surmise thanks to her elegant clothing. At present, the noble beauty is on a mission to hunt Fang, a lethal spirit beast, together with her soul master comrades. Ling next inquires about whether there's a duke among Yin's party, to which she replies with the negative. The girl then explains how dukes aren't some kind of cheap cabbages being sold in the local market. Instead, they're beings with unfathomable strength who stand at the epitome of Spirit Masters society. Furthermore, at any given time and period, there's no more than a total of 7 dukes throughout the land. Long story short, being able to pinpoint any duke randomly strolling across the streets of a no-name town such as this is quite rare, no doubt. Just then, Ling's conversation with the pretty customer is cut short after Fang takes the lead in attacking Yin and her group of soul masters. The snow-white lion with wings is able to slay the rest of Yin's teammates in quick succession, before he starts chasing the runaway Yin herself as well. The girl is soon cornered by the beast. Nowhere to run, Yin musters up her courage and confronts the enemy head-on. The scene then cuts there, and next we witness poor Ling being hunted down by Fang. The boy had instantly tucked his tail between his legs and ran away as soon as Fang launched his killing spree. Alas, the ordinary boy obviously has no chance of escaping successfully, since even spirit warriors such as Yin failed to outrun the mighty beast. Once again, the scene shifts, this time to a faraway place where the mysterious rulers known as Silver Priests instruct Duke No. 7, named as Yin Chen, to go and accept Ling as his disciple. Upon Yin Chen's departure, the hidden Silver Priests issue another order, this time asking Duke 4 Thalia to ally with Duke 2 Yu Ming and help him exterminate Duke 5. Upon being questioned, the Silver Priest confirms how Duke 5, whose name is Fang, who has betrayed the Silver Priest for unknown reasons and is therefore considered a traitor. Back to Ling. The boy soon wakes up but remains clueless as to what exactly happened last night and how he managed to survive. Astonishingly, sitting next to Ling is Yin Chen, who previously got sent to recruit Ling as his disciple. Seeing him awake, Yin Chen abandons the book in his hand and instead starts summarizing the previous night's events. Turns out, Ling was coincidentally dragged into a battle concerning spirit warriors and got chased by Fang as a result. Later, a miracle occurred since Fang somehow got sealed inside Ling, becoming a spirit beast as a result. Yin Chen then proceeds to remove his shirt, allowing his newly acquired disciple to take a peek at his back. Astonishingly, dozens of golden lines known as the Soul Cycle are crawling their way across Yin Chen's back. All those lines end up converging at the Duke mark on his lower back, same way as the world's rivers merge into a boundless ocean. Obviously, the markings are proof of Yin Chen's status as one of the 7 mighty dukes. Yin Chen then explains how he will now share a connection with Ling, since the duo is in a master-discipleship relationship as of today. What follows is a grueling training session spanning across days in order to help Ling better adjust to his new role as a respected spirit warrior. In the midst of his training, Yin Chen even reveals his scorpion spirit beast to his disciple. As for Ling himself, his spirit beast is Fang, who previously got sealed within him. After a little adjustment, the boy now becomes able to summon Fang outside his body at will. Finally, with the basics covered, Yin Chen starts to venture back towards the capital, L.O.R.D, with his disciple Ling in tow, of course. Meanwhile, Yu Ming is currently busy chasing the traitor Fang like a hellhound at the Abyss Corridor. Yu Ming soon summons his mysterious blood weapon, known as the Wraith Mirror, to obtain a swift and decisive victory against the escapees. Said mirror creates an exact duplicate of Fang, one possessing similar fighting skills and abilities as well. That said, Fang becomes preoccupied with dealing with his own doppelganger and has no spare time to protect the teenager by his side. Yu Ming of course leverages this opportunity opportunity to approach the boy of mysterious identity and find out who he really is. The scene then shifts to the entrance of Soul Mound, where Fang Hun's disciple Quan, who's also his sister as well, is being hunted down in a similar fashion. The one giving chase here is none other than Shen Yin, whom we all met at the beginning of the movie. Turns out Shen Yin is indeed the disciple of Duke Tu Yu Ming. At present, she's been instructed to deal with Fang Hun's disciple while Yu Ming himself exterminates the Duke. Quan fails to gain any advantage against Shen Yin, who already has a blood weapon and therefore retains the upper hand throughout the battle. Unfortunately, Yu Ming's disciple nonetheless fails the mission once Quan accidentally enters a portal and is sent away to Soul Mound instantly. Just then, Shen Yin receives an urgent distress signal from Yu Ming, telling her to rush over ASAP. Upon reaching him, Shen Yin is baffled to see one of her Duke's arms missing, with blood surging out like a river non-stop. Yu Ming then instructs his disciple to carry him to the legendary Golden Lake. As expected, a quick dive inside the mysterious lake is able to help resuscitate Yu Ming completely, regenerating his arm in the process as well. Back to 100%, Yu Ming swears an oath to exact revenge upon the one who injured him this bad. Back at the capital, Yin Chen squeezes the juice of Hisya fruit in Ling's eyes, resulting in his disciple's ability to trace golden soul particles everywhere. Yin Chen then explains how these soul particles are discovered in large concentrations in just two places only, one being the Soul Mound where blood weapons take form, while the other is the Abyss Corridor, home to innumerable spirit beasts. Yin Chen also refers to the miraculous Golden Lake during his lectures, same place where Yu Ming went for healing just a while back. Becoming bored, Ling slips away to enjoy the festivities in the capital after obtaining his Duke's consent. The childish and naive boy even starts to flaunt his spirit beast Ice Fang publicly, as a way to garner fame as well as the admiration of others. As expected, trouble follows course after a passerby guard spots Ice Fang. Realizing Ling's immense potential, the guard wishes to recruit him as a groom for their princess named Kira. Ling dismisses the proposal immediately though and starts walking away. Unfortunately, Kira takes being rejected to heart and attempts to surround Ling using her golden eagles. The boy hops onto Ice Fang's back ASAP, allowing him to escape the encirclement unharmed. While flying, Ling accidentally ends up bumping into the Soul Mound's entrance. Meanwhile, Princess Kira, who had been giving chase all this while, now enters the deserted place as well, obviously looking for trouble. The vengeful lady's killing intent remains unabated even after Ling proclaims himself as a disciple to a duke. Alas, Kira fails to accomplish her desire to butcher Ling, since the latter accidentally enters the Soul Mound as well, same as Quan did previously. On the flip side, Yin Chen instantly realizes how something's wrong and hurries over ASAP. Upon entering the darkened corridor, he takes Kira hostage and starts questioning her regarding the whereabouts of his disciple. Kira, of course, isn't willing to go down easy and starts to fight back. Alas, the haughty princess is no match for Duke number 7, who's able to best her in just a couple of moves. Yuan Chen later becomes anxious upon confirming how his disciple has indeed entered the Soul Mound without receiving any kind of prep talk for him. Alas, only disciples are able to enter the place to collect blood weapons. Being a duke, Yin Chen obviously isn't capable of rescuing his disciple by himself. Since saving Ling being his first priority, the mighty Duke 7 even kneels down in order to beg for Kira's help. In the meantime, Ling becomes acquainted with Quan, who arrived inside a while ago and has even successfully obtained her weapon, the resurrection chains, by now. While they chat, Kira is teleported inside as well, having obviously agreed to aid Ling while inside the Soul Mound. However, Kira soon becomes astonished after witnessing Quan holding the resurrection chains. She recounts how the higher-ups claimed for the resurrection chains to have been her destined blood weapon. Sadly for her, Quan isn't the least bit willing to hand over the weapon after going through so much trouble just to obtain it. Trying to be forceful here doesn't work either, since Kira simply ends up with a scar on her face. Later, Ling prompts Kira to tag along, as the three together search for more blood weapons. Just then, the dude becomes flabbergasted by Kira's insane regeneration ability. Quan chimes in, claiming how intense regeneration is the blood gift of Duke number 6, Hyler. As his disciple, Kira obviously possesses that same ability as well. As for Quan and her Duke Fang Hung, their gift is the ability to manipulate large swaths of spirit beasts for whatever purpose they desire. What's funny is how Ling is unaware of what his or Yin Chen's blood gifts are. It's quite understandable since the clueless boy barely knew what a blood gift was until just a while ago. Afterward, Afterwards, the three venture deep into Soul Mound territory, where Kira successfully obtains a bow as her blood weapon. Later, Ling sets his eyes upon a sword, hoping to deem it as his blood weapon forever. Regrettably, the boy loses his grip on the sword and is sent tumbling down the foggy mountain. Ling barely manages to grip another sword and halt his descent when a blood-red and creepy tongue lashes out of the fog down below and wraps around him instantly. Kira attempts to help, but strangely has her arrows reflected back, hurting her in the process. Quan then utilizes her chains to help Ling pull out the sword and later keep him from being pulled away inside the treacherous fog. Just then, Ice Fang emerges and starts clawing at the enemy tongue in a hysterical manner. Alas, the disgusting tongue turns out to be highly poisonous, injuring the spirit beast madly as a result. In the end, Ling's beloved and loyal Ice Fang himself falls into the mist while trying to protect his master. Feeling enraged, the boy utilizes his newly acquired sword to cut the tongue in half, allowing Quan to pull him back up. Sometime later, the three finally arrive back at the entrance, hoping to return back to their world ASAP. However, Kira all of a sudden starts making a big fuss about doors having been switched before. Thing is, one ought to leave from the same door through which they came. Choose incorrectly, and you might just as well forfeit your life. Quan, of course, isn't willing to have blind faith in Kira's word for a second. As a result, she makes a move on Kira unexpectedly, holding her by the throat and soon threatening to shove her past the original door. Poor Kira instantly starts to sweat, allowing Quan to ascertain that the portals have indeed been messed with. Realizing all that, Quan soon loosens her grip on Kira, allowing her to back away unscathed. Unfortunately, the infuriated and vengeful princess isn't willing to let matters slide that easily. That said, Kira soon pushes Quan inside door 1 in order to vent her fury. Ling is greatly saddened by Quan's probable death and curses Kira for backstabbing comrades. Soon, the emotionally driven idiot himself rushes past the original door, hoping to rescue Quan. After all, the chain girl did indeed prevent that nasty tongue from dragging Ling all the way down to hell previously. On the contrary, Kira declares Ling is a fool and then goes past the other door, the one she proclaimed as being the authentic way back to the real world not long ago. What's funny is that despite passing through separate doors, all three disciples end up at the same spot, which definitely isn't the real world. Thankfully, Quan is way more mature than the naive princess. That said, the wise chain girl gives preference to sticking together in unknown territory rather than having them three suffer from infighting. Up next, Kira utilizes her golden eagles to light the darkened passageway. Unexpectedly though, all eagles are engulfed by an unknown force not long after. Right after, Ling senses the presence of other people, or rather things, crawling nearby. Guess what? A heckload of creepy undead skeletons emerge from all over the place an instant later. Seeing the enemies swarming all over, Ling as well as the two girls all pull out their weapons. Each of the three seems determined to open a pathway of blood and corpses in order to escape this wretched place. Alas, there is no end to the number of enemies in sight, and all three disciples start feeling overwhelmed soon. Just then, a portal opens up on top of the altar, with vast golden light emerging from within. Turns out, Duke number 3 named Zilla has come to the rescue. This one possesses the unique and formidable blood gift of altering time and space. Such an ability, of course, allows Zilla to travel vast distances in the flicker of an eye. What's more, in the midst of a battle, he can mess with the time to help quicken the speed of allies. Finally, the opposite here is true as well, since Zilla can just as well slow down all his enemies, making it seem as if they're stuck frozen in midair. Same happens here, after which Zilla teleports back to the real world with the three disciples in tow. From there, the scene finally switches back to Yin Chen, who is approached by the runaway Duke 5 Fang while awaiting his disciples' return. Despite being wary of the traitor, Yin Chen still seems willing to lend an ear to Fang and hears his side of the story. Fang thus takes Yin Chen away to the mysterious stranger boy who somehow miraculously survived Yu Ming's pursuit a while back. Here, we don't get to hear the entire conversation except for the last part where the boy instructs both dukes to search for Duke 6 Hyler on Eternal Island before melting away as a poisonous liquid himself. Yin Chen comes looking for his disciple, whereas Fang rushes off straight towards Eternal Island in search of Hyler. After the initial greetings, Zilla verifies how the portals indeed have been messed up by an unknown person. He can tell since, being a Duke of Time and Space, he himself is the one who made those portals. What's more, Yin Chen admits how Duke 4 Thalia assured him that his his disciple Qi Ling's weapon is the resurrection chains. What's funny is how the same thing was told to both Kira and Quan. All clues point towards a conspiracy taking place behind the scenes. Either it's Talia, who's turned traitorous as well, or perhaps the almighty silver priests themselves are the ones indulging in fishy stuff by sowing discord between various dukes. Anyhow, there's only one way to sort out the puzzle, heading towards Eternal Island and Hylar Duke number 6. Upon hearing her duke's mention, Kira's face becomes crestfallen. Turns out, Hylar mysteriously went missing some 16 years ago and was never heard back from ever since then. Qi Ling thus presents a funny puppy act to cheer up his companion. Meanwhile, on Eternal Island, Xin Yan is ruthlessly intercepted and beaten down by Neon, disciple to Duke 4 Thalia. Xin Yan remains confused since her master Yu Ming is Thalia's known ally, as well as her lover. That said, such a warm welcome was totally unexpected and seemingly out of the blue for the miserable-looking Xin Yan. Regrettably, Xin Yan's pitiful look fails to make a fool out of Thalia, who had long since seen through her true nature. As it happens, Xin Yan's loyalty and faithfulness towards her duke, Yu Ming, was nothing but a mere act. In reality, though, the cunning girl was only biding her time, trying to utilize her unique blood gift of endless evolution to continuously seek more power. Such a rare blood gift allows Xin Yan to absorb the abilities of her defeated enemies, resulting in her becoming even stronger. With such a transcendent ability, it's only natural for Xin Yan's lust for power, as well as her desire to surpass all others, including her Duke Yu Ming, to grow. It was also for this very motive that Xin Yan was found chasing after Ice Fang previously. Back then, Yu Ming's greedy disciple had been plotting to suck dry all of Ice Fang's ice magic abilities. Even now, Xin Yan's true motive behind coming to Eternal Island isn't to lend her duke a helping hand. Rather, the insidious girl merely wishes to run into Hylar before others and steal his unmatched regenerative abilities. Alas, Thalia's wish is to put an end to Xin Yan's threat fails once her lover and Xin Yan's duke Yu Ming arrives. The guy obviously shares a soft spot for his disciple and forbids Thalia from causing any further trouble. What's more, as far as Yu Ming is concerned, there's more pressing matters at hand, such as locating Hylar as well as taking Fang Hun prisoner, dead or alive. Some distance away, Yin Chen, Zilla, and the rest arrive as well. From there, Quan flees the scene at once, hoping to reunite with her brother ASAP. Soon after the reunion, Fang Hun makes a grim face, claiming how all dukes except for Duke 1 being on Eternal Island together is no mere coincidence. Instead, there's definitely far more sinister schemes at play here. Hearing that, Quan becomes concerned about their mission, hoping to discover Hylar ASAP. Fang Hun then bombards his sister with yet another revelation about how the old Eternal Island is Hylar himself. As it happens, more than a decade ago, Hylar utilized his miraculous regenerative prowess under the Silver Priest orders to transform himself into such a gigantic island. By doing so, he trapped an unknown being of immense power deep inside the island forever. Fang Hun wonders what monstrous existence could require the sacrifice of a mighty duke. What's more horrific is how, despite Hylar's sacrifice, the unknown being was merely imprisoned temporarily instead of being annihilated forever. While chatting, the siblings get discovered by Thalia and Yu Ming. Thalia then hurls Yu Ming far above them, just like a slingshot. From there, Yu Ming starts raining down innumerable arrows at them, resulting in Fang Hun's injury despite Quan utilizing her chains to defend against the incoming arrows. Both siblings become serious as well and end up summoning an infinite number of spirit beasts to trample the enemy. Meanwhile, Yin Chen summons Hem of the Goddess, a divine piece of cloth to help Qi Ling and Kira resist the beast. Upon being questioned, Yin Chen reveals how the silk cloth is merely one of his innumerable other weapons. Yep, as Duke 7, Yin Chen's blood gifts turn out to be infinite weapons. As the name suggests, the owner of such an ability can wield any number of weapons, unlike others who typically possess just one. Interestingly, Yin Chen's Hem of Goddess is merely an imitation of Thalia's blood weapon. That said, Duke 4's divine cloth unexpectedly causes the spirit beast to pass through without even putting a scratch on it. Yin Chen's silken cloth seems quite pale in comparison, since it definitely won't last much longer against a continuous attack from various beasts. Knowing the consequences of staying in place, Yin Chen hurries away outside to slay as many spirit beasts as he can. Meanwhile, Ling's mind remains distressed since the life of his duke is in danger. In the end, he ignores Yin Chen's warnings and sprints over to his duke ASAP, slaying loads of beasts along the way as well. Upon reaching there, Ling even successfully rescues Yin Chen from being slaughtered. From there, the two start fighting back to back, butchering a heckload of monsters as a result. Such an event signifies the true meaning of loyalty between a duke and his or her proclaimed disciple. Anyways, things aren't looking good for Fang and his sister. To finish matters swiftly, he orders his sister to sneak away and locate Hyler while he himself keeps all enemies at bay. Unfortunately, Quan fails to escape Thalia's unique blood gifts that grant her the power to see through any sort of deception. This results in Thalia chasing Quan like a hellhound all the way to the center of the island. Finally, Quan reaches Hyler's massive heart located in the center underground. Meanwhile, Hyler actively attempts to delay Thalia's arrival by forging various rock walls in her way. Back on the surface, Zilla confronts Fang Hun, asking for the reason behind his betrayal. Being short on time, Fang Hun fails to provide a satisfactory explanation. Instead, the dude hurries away after requesting Zilla to exterminate the excess spirit beasts unless his control loosen up and they start rampaging in the nearby city of Ryan. Being a do-gooder, Zilla does as told by reinforcing the residents of Ryan in the battle against spirit beasts. In the battlefield, Zilla shines greatly by first slowing down the enemy and later playing solo to clear up a shed load of trashy beasts. In such a way, Duke 3 turns the Ryan city's tide of war all alone, rescuing innumerable civilians in the process of doing so. Later, upon teleporting back to the island, Zilla becomes baffled upon witnessing Thalia beaten black and blue by Quan, a mere disciple. The bruised Thalia then reveals how Hyler chose to let Quan inherit his soul loop, allowing her to become Duke 6 in his stead. Paired with the girl's original ability to manipulate spirit beasts, Quan has no doubt turned into a formidable foe. Thalia then stresses for all other dukes to gather and exterminate Quan with a now or never attitude. That's to be expected since, with Quan's potential now, she may soon surpass all others given enough time. Hearing that, Yu Ming and the rest give chase, even building an ice bridge to rush over to the sibling spirit beast and annihilate them both for good. With the situation being less than ideal, Fang Hun jumps off the spirit beast's back decisively and sprints over towards Yu Ming instantly. Once there, Thalia sees through the enemy's intention and starts shrieking for Yu Ming to spare Fang Hun's life. Unfortunately, it's too late, since Yu Ming's blade has already pierced through Fang Hun's chest by now. With Fang Hun's death, Quan inherits his mantle as Duke 5 as well, becoming the first double duke in all of history. Not only that, but the shockwaves released from his murder even shatter the ice bridge created by Yu Ming previously. Fang Hun's demise causes his sister to become hysterical. Soon, she starts threatening all those who contributed to her brother's downfall. Regrettably, Quan starts suffering from the backlash of absorbing 2 soul loops at once just then. Realizing it to be their only chance, Thalia and the rest rush over yet again like mad bloodhounds. Astonishingly though, Yin Chen intercepts them in time using his multiple blood weapons. By the time the dust settles, both the double duke as well as Yin Chen himself have disappeared. In the battle's aftermath, Kira reveals how Hyler was not just her duke but also her father. Back then, she inherited an incomplete soul loop from her mother during the pregnancy phase. This resulted in Kira's mother, who was also Hyler's disciple back then, to die an unfortunate death. Back in the present, Kira is brooding since her father as well as Duke chose to let a stranger inherit his position rather than his own daughter. Thus, Kira starts believing how all those myths about the Duke-disciple relationship being mysterious and sacred was mere nonsense. Ling, of course, disagrees with her opinion. As far as he's concerned, his Duke, Yin Chen, definitely won't abandon him. Instead, when the time is ripe, the two are bound to reunite yet again, no doubt. Far away, Yin Chen prompts Quan to elaborate the situation in detail. Quan thus starts recounting how, some days prior, a bright and sunny day turned not so bright once she and her brother were approached by a mysterious stranger. Said stranger was indeed the boy whose body melted away in a poisonous stream previously. In Quan's memory, though, the boy was still in good shape and therefore bested the two of them within mere seconds. The teenager then revealed his identity as one of the Silver Noble priests. Turns out, instead of being almighty gods as the rest believed them to be, the Silver Priests are mere prisoners. That said, the noble priests worshipped by the dukes can't even escape their crystalline rooms no matter what. One way to flee, though, is by occupying the body of an ordinary human, same as what this boy priest did. However, such an insignificant body isn't capable of holding a Silver Priest's immense strength for long. Soon, the human vessel will start to melt away, same as what occurred with the boy previously. We then see a flashback where that boy claimed how Duke 1 Gilgamesh is still alive as of yet. Turns out the mighty Gilgamesh had apparently been deemed as a traitor by the Silver Priest years ago. As a result, Duke 1 disappeared in a rather mysterious fashion around the same time Hylar went off the radar. The boy priest then reveals how Gilgamesh wasn't truly a traitor. Rather, the mightiest of all dukes had inferred the Silver Priest's various secrets after staying in the service for quite a while. Unfortunately, Gilgamesh was too strong to be eliminated by the caged Silver Priests. Not willing to risk their secrets being revealed, the treacherous rulers simply slandered Gilgamesh as a traitor, resulting in him being caged for more than a decade. Even mighty dukes such as Yin Chen and Quan are but mere puppets in the eyes of the arrogant Silver Priest. Finally, before drawing his last few breaths, the boy priest reveals how his fellow priests are intending to break their cages and wreak havoc upon the world in the near future. What's more, the only person who's capable of preventing such a dreadful future is none other than Duke 1 Gilgamesh, currently caged at Eternal Island. Back in present, both Yin Chen and Quan appear infuriated at having their loyalty taken for granted by the wretched Silver Priests. In the end, they only proved themselves as slightly more valuable spirit beasts for their noble lords, nothing more than that. What's more, both these dukes have been separated from their loved ones forever. In Yin Chen's case, his beloved and respected duke was slandered as a traitor and caged away for eternity. Meanwhile, Quan's brother ended up dead as collateral in the crossfire resulting from the Silver Priest's endless wicked schemes. Back in Glaunort, Silver pays a quick visit to Ling, informing his disciple of his inevitable departure. After all that, how can Yin Chen be at peace while his Duke Gilgamesh still remains imprisoned, suffering all alone? Yin Chen of course promises to return back to Ling one day, before vanishing away into the dark night. Meanwhile, Thalia reveals the same about the Silver Priest's various deficiencies to her lover Yu Ming. The clever woman had been able to surmise all that from capturing mere clues all this time. Yu Ming then correctly guesses how the boy priest must have indeed been one of the Silver Priests. Otherwise, with Gilgamesh gone for so long, there was practically no one capable of beating him among the remaining few dukes. However, Yu Ming had clearly been at the mercy of the boy priest back then, who had casually torn apart one of his arms. Back then, killing Duke 2, Yu Ming would have consumed much less effort than swatting away a bothersome fly. Who else besides one of the Silver Priests is capable of achieving such a feat? Having shared so much intel, both Yu Ming and Thalia now swear an oath to stay allied forever and face the incoming surging tide side by side together. Afterwards, Thalia is seen opening up a bunch of mysterious chests while Yu Ming too is at some place unknown, busy staring at people kept in giant test tubes. The scene then shifts to Zilla, who's contemplating how only Gilgamesh can rescue mankind from the upcoming disaster. While saying all that, Zilla steps through a mysterious door. Finally, we get a glimpse of the unfathomable Duke 1 Gilgamesh, who's bound by multiple chains at present and is apparently in a comatose state. This wraps up the episode's end, and we are left pondering several mysteries. First of all, will Zilla truly be able to free Gilgamesh from the shackles after all these years? Moreover, what stance will Gilgamesh assume in the epic battle brewing between the dukes and the Silver Priests? Furthermore, what stunning displays does Quan have to offer now that she's becoming the first double duke in history? Last but not least, where do the mysterious priests originate, and when exactly are they planning to abandon their lives as almighty prisoners? That's all for now. We'll surely discover the answers within the next couple of episodes of L.O.R.D, Lord of Ravaging Dynasties. And in case you're a subscriber with notifications enabled, you'll learn them as well soon enough.